My name is Sphinx, and today we're going to go over how to set up a Roll20 token for an adversary within the system known as Daggerheart, published by Darrington Press. Now, this will require you to have access to the adversary sheets on Demiplane, as well as being able to link your Demiplane account to Roll20, which I believe as of now does require you to be a Roll20 subscriber. This will also allow you to utilize some other APIs and macros that I will show you how to utilize towards the end of this video. Now, of course, if you don't have a subscription to Roll20, nor do you have the Demiplane implementation of the Daggerheart rulebook, there is still some value to be had here. It's just that you will not get the full breadth of utilization I have to show you. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to set up a adversary token. Now, what we are going to do is that I have a template here with all of the information, the macros that you can use as token actions. And for this, you do not need to have a subscription to Roll20 to utilize. So everybody is free and able to use this. This code will also be in the YouTube description. So we need our template open. We're going to need a handout, and we are going to need a new character sheet. Now, the first thing that I do is that I go to the Demiplane compendium for Daggerheart, for the adversaries. I go to the adversary that I am wanting to implement into my game, and I then just Windows Shift S for the snipping tool and take that information. And then once it's in my clipboard, paste it into the description notes for that particular adversary. And this one is the Cave Ogre. Save changes. There we go. So now that that is done, that Cave Ogre can go in my adversary handouts folder for tier 1. And we can label our new token as a Cave Ogre. Here in the bio and info section of this character token, we can put Cave Ogre in brackets here. And this will link it to the handout that we have just made, so that you can have all of the information there ready and waiting for you. This has doubled it up a couple of times, so we do need to try and delete. Okay. That has decided to copy itself multiple times. So we are just going to change this to still be in my clipboard. And that is only once. There we go. And this does need to be done once more. For whatever reason, it's copied itself times. Now that works. Fantastic. So again, Cave Ogre can go in here. That is all we need to do to get the information on Roll20 and easily accessed through our token. The next thing that we are going to do is we are going to add the attributes in. So for the Cave Ogre, it has HP. It also needs to be aware of stress and thresholds. And the thresholds I like to put as a point value here within the current section of this attribute, just so that we know our 2 damage thresholds all within one whole number. It's fairly easy to recognize that that is the case. The next thing we are going to do, or at least I should say, is we are not going to put difficulty here. If you do want it here, you can type it in here as well, just so you have it as a reference. But I don't utilize it in any way on the attributes. Next thing we are going to do is we are going to see that the Cave Ogre, it has an attack, and it has 4 features and 1 experience. So we are going to need 6 abilities. These all need to be marked as show as token action. This last one here is going to be experiences. And we are going to do this one by one. Now, first one here, this new ability 0, is going to be labeled as a club because this is our attack. Then Control A, Control C, our template attack. There we go. And then we're going to add the information here. So, for this, it's a 1d20 plus 1. And the damage is 1d10 plus 2. And the range is very close. Now, you will have seen that I have just replaced a bunch of question mark values within these brackets. And that is because this is what is the information that is applicable to the current adversary. So anytime that you see a question mark, it is asking you to add a new value into to replace that with. So that is now done. We're just going to do this one by one. I'm just going to do this in real time so I can show you how quick this is. So this is a passive ability. I like to capitalize that it is passive. We're then going to go to our feature template, Control A, Control C, and then that information there in the ramp up passive ability will go and paste it into just behind this equal sign in this template token action. Now that is done. Then have a Bone Baker passive, Control A, Control C again. There we go. And then we've got the Hail of Boulders, which is an action. Control A, Control C for the feature. And place this here. Now for this one, it has a dice value. So if you want to be having this value automatically rolled, you just place it in a double set of brackets here. And then it is done for you. Now that's done. And last but not least, we have our Rampaging Fury, which is a reaction. Copying some of this stuff here, you'll see that it has that's fine by me. That's just a little bit odd in terms of we'll separate this out a little bit. Sometimes it copies over nice and easy, sometimes it does take a little bit of adjustment just to make it look like the way that you want it to. Now that that's done, and again we'll put double brackets over this just so that it automatically rolls. And then lastly we have our experiences template. So our experience here is that it throws. So on this first question mark we're putting throw. And then we are putting +2 because that is the level of the experience. Now you no longer need our template, and we have our Cave Ogre. So, for the Cave Ogre, got this empty little token here, and we're going to make it a little bit bigger. Make sure that we update that default, because of course an ogre you're expected to be pretty large and intimidating upon the battlefield. Now, what we are going to do is we will show you how each of these particular things works. So now that we have these actions tied to the token, when we click on the token, we can see them here up on the upper left. Now, if I do the Bone Breaker passive, it will then tell me that I'm speaking as a cave ogre, and then tell me what that ability does. If I do the club, it will roll the d20 for the attack, and then advantage or disadvantage as well, and then also the damage, and then also tell me the range, all within one text box. Same for experiences. Scale of boulders, you can see that it manually rolls that 1d10 plus 2. If you mouse over it, you'll be able to see that value. And the same for Rampaging Fury. Easy peasy. Now, Roll20 allows you to have a few bars tied to a token. So what we're going to do is the green bar, or at least this is the way that I do it, is tied to the HP. The next one is tied to the stress for the blue bar, and then the red for thresholds. This can be any value that you want. So if you wanted, instead of the thresholds, you could put the difficulty instead, and then it's marked as 13. That is up to you. Now we have those values on that token. Now, if I had, for instance, multiple, I forgot to set that as a default. Now, if I have multiple of these, however, if I change one, it changes the other. We don't want that. So now that we know these values, we can just set these as none. If it's only one singular enemy that is intended for that fight, obviously you can keep it set as HP and stress, or whatever respective values you want in here. But now that we don't have these set together, I can adjust one and the other independently of each other. Okay, now this next part does require you to have token mod, or at least for the second phase of this. So for a cave ogre, we know that its difficulty is 13. I like to put it in the tooltip here. Let me just make sure this is updated. So now that this tooltip here is marked as 13. If you have the token mod API installed, there is a macro that you can utilize that allows you to toggle on that tooltip, the tooltip on button, and then you can also turn it off with a tooltip off button. This is so that you can easily show players what a difficulty value of a target is. You can hide that information if you want. Typically what I do is I wait for them to be successful in an action roll against a particular enemy if it requires their difficulty value. Once they are successful, then I will show them the difficulty of that target so that they know going forward what it is. They don't have to keep asking me. Now, sometimes there might be something within the environment, the way that you utilize fear, how you are implementing hope and fear and sort of like failing forward, and the snowball effect of the narrative design of Demiplane that might require you to adjust the value of a difficulty on the fly. Say, for instance, it is imbued with power by a shaman in the back line that's very far from the rest of the players, and it is then, as a result, it grows more powerful. Maybe rock formations erupt out of its skin, and it, or maybe it eats a couple of crystals out of the cave that is its lair, and it draws upon some of that power for itself, making it harder to hit. So the way that we could do this is, again, using token mod, is that we can have a difficulty adjuster. So then I can say, okay, so it it eats the cerulean crystal that forms out of the overhang of the ledge just to its left. As it crunches down upon it, its gums bleeding with the shattering of that mineral, jagged pieces of essentially glass now jabbing into its jaw. You'll see a glow flow through its throat, settle into its stomach, and as that happens, as it unleashes this horrid guttural burp, flecks of blue saliva, rock and crystal begins to sprout over its back, over its forearms, giving it more defensive presence. Its difficulty has gone up by 4. We can then adjust difficulty to 17. And we can then adjust it back if we ever need to. Say the players break all the crystal, the rock formations over its body. That is all you need to know on how to set up a Roll20 token for a Daggerheart adversary. So once you have this template all set up, it's fairly easy and quick to create new adversaries, copy ones over from either a homebrew side or from Demiplane itself or from the book, or create your own utilizing this information here. I hope someone found this helpful. If there is anything else you would like to see, please comment down below, and I will try my very best to give you a solution to a problem you are having in your Roll20 games, be it in Daggerheart or any other system. Have a wonderful day, guys and gals. We'll see you next time.